Shabbat Shalom. It is Shabbat Truma. And Lynn, you look a little worried. Are you okay? That's okay then. Because you must know Lynn is our security liaison. And when Lynn looks worried, I get nervous too. What is happening? Not so bad. So, it is Shabbat Truma. And with our little kids, I just spent about 20 minutes running all over the synagogue because Shabbat Truma is about the very first time the Israelites in the desert built their own synagogues. So it is this one Shabbat a year where we're really just focusing on where are we? What do we see? What does this place mean to us, and what do we bring to us? So, to bring us some light and some joy, I want to invite the entire Shamus family and light the candles for us. And just so that you meet these kids, those are Amelia and Henry and Emma, and their parents, Chelsea and Alex. And Amelia and Henry, they actually know really well how to light the candles. And I don't know about Chelsea and Alex, but we're about to discover this. We are on page 120. It's okay, Emma. Emma should come too, I think. And this time, Mom and Dad are going to light the candles, and you're going to help them. And we're going to light these big ones on 120. Good. This always happens. That's okay. We'll just take another match. That's why we practice. Okay, here we go. Lovely. Shabbat Shalom. Perfect. And we do what we always do. We gather the light behind our eyelids until we're warm and soft in our eyes and our hearts. And we say, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom, Shamus family. Shabbat Shalom, Beth Shalom family. Shabbat Shalom. Please join me on page 121. The tiny print at the bottom of the page is not the side effects. It is maybe the most important writing on this page. It starts with help me. Help me perfect my ways of loving and caring. Inspire me to make myself whole so that I may honor your name and create a world of justice and peace. Because, don't judge her. She's 18 months and she already prayed for an entire hour. So, just think about how you feel 1 hour into high holiday services. So, because this is Shabbat Truma, I want to ask you a couple of questions, and only you know the answer to them. Shabbat Truma has one sentence at the very beginning, and it says, Adonai spoke to Moses, saying, tell the Israelite people to bring me gifts. You shall accept gifts from me for every person whose heart so moves him. So this is already the second time you read the sentence, because it's also on top of your tax letters that you received yesterday from our congregation, but you did not. Oh, you shook your head. If you didn't receive your tax letter, talk to Cody, because you should have. But what does this mean? It is a sentence in which God invites the Israelites to bring what they have, to bring to the community, this very budding startup nation in the middle of the desert, what they want to contribute to the Mishkan. And maybe some of you wondered at some point, how come a bunch of runaway slaves own this amount of gold and silver and crimsons and diamonds? But if you know the story very well, you know that they took them from the Egyptian because God told them so. So there's also something really interesting that God, in the middle of the Exodus, in the middle of the 10 plagues, already said to the Israelites, make sure to take gold and silver and precious stones with you when you leave. And now God says again, now, if you want to, bring them to me. So if we think about this, it's very often like this. We receive gifts, sometimes at the beginning of our lives, character traits, the places we're born, the people we were born into or with. And then at some point in our lives, we're invited to give them back to someone who needs them more than us, or to a community that needs them more than us. So I want to ask you, just ask yourself, what are you bringing to the space today? Shabbat Shalom, Doug. The questions that arose for you during this week, the very sensations of your body as you're sitting there. We don't often talk about this, but you're actually just sitting on a chair and you're putting your feet on the ground. And it's always slightly too warm or too cold in here. And that's also something to notice. All your experiences of the day, where did it start? Whom did you meet? Your feelings for this community. How do you feel in the midst of these people? Your hopes for tonight. Why are you here? How do you want to leave? And your plans for this weekend. All this you brought here. So as we're singing, just choose your question. Page 136. What do you bring to this place? Adonai. כמו בן רמים, יינאי כל אדוני חוצב לבדש, כל אדוני יכיל מדבר, יכיל אדוני מדבר הקודש, כל אדוני יחייל איילות ויחשוף יערות ובהיכלו כולו אומר כבוד. Page 138.
לך דודי,
לה לקראת כלה, בני שבת, בני שבת נקרא
שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשמו תפארת ולתהילה. שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם משוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה.
בני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה.
התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך ומיורי, אורי אורי שיר דברי,
כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, יד עלי יד עלי יד עלי, בני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, יד עלי יד עלי יד עלי, בני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצוהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי
שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, ילנה ילנה ילנה, פני שבת נקבלה.
140. טוב להודות לאדוני. טוב להודות לאדוני. ולזמר לשמך עליון. טוב להודות לאדוני. And if you have found yourself in all this, then I want to invite you for the next section of the service to ask yourself a different question. What do you bring to God? The first part of a Kabbalat Shabbat service is really just for you. It is so that you find the right place to pray. We do the same thing in the morning. We sing and sing and sing until we find the right place to pray. The rabbis would do this for hours. So our services are very abbreviated. And then is the time to say Baruch Hu. And then is the time to say the prayers and the words that count. And wherever you find yourself at the end of the singing, this is what you bring to God. Here are some examples of what I think people bring to God quite frequently. Our pain, our gratitude, our questions when we really don't know the answers anymore, our will to live and our will to learn. Page 146, Baruch Hu. Please rise if you're able. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Vahed. Please be seated. Page 148. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר בדברו מעריב ערבים אל חי וקיים תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני המעריב ערבים. 149. This is an hour of change. Within it we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? 150, Eternal Love, the Torah. And I just want to tell you, the kids found candy in the Torah shrine. We should open it soon again.
אהבת עולם, בית ישראל, עמך אהבת, תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו למדת, על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשכבנו ובקומנו נשיח בחוקיך ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ובהם נהגה יומם ולילה.
ואהבתך אל תשים ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם emet. And now Cody has put a sticky note so that I don't forget. All right. Thank you, Cody. This sermon is brought to you by Cody. Or I wanted to write a BDB sermon. And maybe those of you who were here when I spoke about miracles and signs and wonders remember what that was. It was a sermon about the meaning of the word, a word. This is Shabbat Truma. And I wanted to tell you that Truma means contribution in English. And it's literally just something that you give, right? You have something, you give a part of it, you contribute to something else. It's not very poetic. But in Hebrew, Truma actually is poetic. Because it's not only a contribution, it's something that you give of yourself in order to lift it up. It comes from larum, to lift up. It makes a lot of sense because this is how you would put something on an altar, right? But I decided not to do a BDB sermon because once I started to think about this, to lift something up, to give something of yourself to a bigger goal, to a community, the sermon kind of became its own. So now you get the one that wanted to be written. So, in this portion, each Israelite is bringing what their heart is telling them to bring. And very, very famously, for those of you who know the story and for those who don't, it ends with Moses actually telling them, too much, you can stop now. And usually when we read the story in the pshat sense, we are just very moved. There is God, represented by Moses, saying, bring me everything that you want to bring me. And the Israelites are showering Moses and Bezalel with gifts, gold, silver, everything they have on them. And they come and they pile up mountains and mountains of precious materials until it becomes clear this is more than ever needed to build this first Mishkan in the middle of the desert. So they're giving too much. And based on what I just told you, that what they gave to Moses were not, it depends on how you think about it, what's the price of slavery, but it wasn't exactly their savings of the last 40 years of hard work. It's something that they just brought out of Egypt. And here they bring it. Maybe part of them was also a little relieved when they could let go of this. That was never really theirs. Maybe they had strange feelings after all, bringing these things with them. So there was first this, kind of made me wonder, too much. Maybe God wanted to say, really also a little too much. And it made me think about the ways we use these words today. Someone's too much, too intense, brings way too much of them into here. And when I landed at this spot, I remembered some learnings that I had done maybe more than a decade ago of a sociologist by the name of Goffman, Jeffrey Goffman. He's American, so maybe some of you know much more about him than I do. Jeffrey Goffman said one thing for which he is famous, and this is that life requires of all of us to play certain roles. Maybe one of his most provocative statements was that when we are born, we're not thrown into the world, we're thrown onto a stage. And we need to learn to play the roles that are expected to us in this community. Sometimes this is really hard because we wanted to play a different role. You all know this if you're in drama. You wanted to be the protagonist, but you didn't get to be the protagonist. You were a goat, or Rumpelstiltskin, or something else you didn't want. Or you just want to be in the center of the stage and they don't let you. And they tell you not. you know, you're wonderful, but maybe you can take a different spot. No, they tell you, you don't belong here. In different ways. Sometimes it's painful. Sometimes it's funny. Like I have to teach my son now that you have to keep your pants on. That's not easy when you're 3. But it's something really necessary for us to function in a society. It needs to be a learning that happens at some point in our lives. What are we supposed to bring of ourselves? There are some things that I can always bring. Kindness, patience, generosity. There are others that I can only live out in very specific settings, maybe only with my family or only at my work. It doesn't mean that we're lying. It doesn't mean that we're pretending. It just means that we know sometimes our whole self can be too much. Too much. One very core Jewish way of thinking put this too much at the core of what they had to teach. And that was in the 20th century in Lithuania, a movement that is called the Musar movement. And maybe some of you studied this already. The Musar work is very practical. Basically, it just tells you, you are born imperfect. If you were to live the way you were born, you'll be too much every single day of your life. You have to learn to control yourself. And then it gives you 8 so-called midot, character traits. And there are all kinds of different character traits, like patience, or endurance, or deliverance, or calmness. And what Musar says is, there's not one trait in the world that is good or bad. There's just a too much on both ends of the spectrum. And you, as people, as Jews who live in very tight-knit communities, in a yeshiva, in a synagogue community, in a living community of a shtetl or a quarter of a town, a ghetto, you have to learn to live in a way where you, as rarely as possible, are too much for the people who live with you. I want to give you 2 examples. One of these midot is called anava, and that is humility. So it really depends on where you are in the world. Humility is something wonderful, is something a little less wonderful. You know, in some cultures you're encouraged to demonstrate it non-stop. In others, if you're demonstrating it too much, it becomes suspicious. But in every cultural context, there is a right amount. If you're demonstrating it too much, people will trample all over you. If you're demonstrating it not at all, people will call you arrogant. And the same thing is true for another one, generosity. If you never share, people will tell you that you're cold-hearted and you don't like to give. If you throw all your money out of the window non-stop, people will say, well, that's tasteless. Why does he need to show and brag all the time how much money he has? So right there, somewhere in the middle. In fact, Musar is so practical, and it can busy you so much with these examples, that you forget to think about the big philosophy behind it. And the big philosophy behind it is actually, I think, much more interesting and much more countercultural than the very practical examples. The big philosophy behind it says, you're not perfect the way you're born. The way you're born, you are a creature out of clay with lots of yearnings and lots of wishes. It's completely upon you to make yourself into the person you want to be and you should be over the course of your life. It's hard work. No one cares what your inner child wants. Really, what Musa asks you is, what does your inner adult want? What is the best thing you can give? What is the thing that won't be too much? Don't ask what do you want to give. Ask what is needed the most, and then try to bring exactly that. It made me read this Torah portion from a very different angle than I had read it in all the last years. Maybe what God is telling them is not just it's too much gold and too much silver. Maybe God is saying, you know what? Slow down. Start to think before you drop all this stuff here. Ask yourself, do you know what we're building here? Do you know what all this gold and silver is supposed to serve for? And then, when you have a vision, bring what is needed and not just what you find in your heart. And as always, you're absolutely allowed to disagree with me. So, we're going to start singing Micha Mocha today slowly. And then maybe we become a little quicker. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know if that's possible, actually. But let's just imagine we take each step deliberately, knowing where we're going. Page 158. 58. Sure, but I'm really happy. Today Eliana is here and she's coming up with Elizabeth, page 150, 160, Hashkivenu, walking into a big, soft, light and warm, godly hug. Hashkivenu, lay us down in peace, protect us.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom V'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom V'hamidenu shomreinu
I want to ask you to rise. Page 164. Let's just breathe. Breathe into this beauty. Take your time. What happens if you step into peacefulness? Page 164, the silent Amidah. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, Adonai, my rock and my redeemer. 180.
Oh, say shalom bimroma. Oh, yeah, say shalom.
Shalom, shalom. This week's person here at the table doesn't need that much of an introduction as others because she was famous. This is Vivian Silver. She was Canadian born, moved to Israel. She was a famous peace activist. For 3 weeks, we thought she was abducted to Gaza, and then it was clear, based on the genetic analysis of ashes, that she was burned on the 7th of October. What does she leave behind? Maybe one of the most important quotes about peace work. She said, peace, shalom, is not the goal. It is the way. It is the way towards the goal. I am very much at a loss with this. I do not know what peace looks like right now. I know we're all looking. We're all looking at Rafah, at Khan Yunis, at Sderot. We don't know. I wonder if maybe something would have happened to her that happened to me. I feel my heart broken. What would she say, that person, if she lived today? Would she still think that's true? I wish she would be still here. And it's maybe for this that we should pray, that more people like her, with the wisdom to know what to do, will show up on the next days and weeks moving forward, not only towards peace, but with peace already in their minds and souls. Page 377. The prayer for the state of Israel. And before we pray our prayer, I also want to share something very joyful, and for someone who might actually be exactly Vivian Silver's age. And this is a member of our community by the name of Sue Roder Bertucci. And I have to tell you that I never met her. But we said Kaddish for her husband not too long ago, and he's on our Kaddish list in the newsletter. Rhoda wrote to me, I think from Florida, after I sent out a bulletin board post about a call by our first speaker, Shula, from the Jewish American, it's not agency, is it? Maybe. She sent out a possibility for us to send money to Israel for the displaced families who lost their homes on October 7th for a big Purim munch bunch box, which is a big mitzvah for Purim, is to send food, so you can send food to Israel. And Rhoda wrote to me and said, I just donated a bunch of money, which is great, and you should too. But also she said, I want you and my other friends at Beth Shalom to know I am going on a solidarity mission to Israel. I will be the oldest member of this trip. I am 78 years old, but I want to go. No. She's 89. I thought I mixed something up in my head. Okay, she is 89 years old, and she's a little worried to go on this trip. But before the service, Carolyn just told me that she says if anything should happen, she will be exactly where she wants to be. So I want to share this with you, that a member of this congregation is going to Israel to learn and to see, and I know we're all confused. And I know few of us sometimes, or some of us are sometimes wondering what we're actually seeing on the news, depending on which news. It is amazing amazing to be, what is it? I still can't believe it. 89. 89 years old, and to go to Israel because you want to learn more and you want to understand more and you want to see what is happening and know what to think. So we will say a prayer for the state of Israel with the hope and the aspiration that many, many women and men will come up, like Vivian and Sue, Rhoda Subertuch, who bring wisdom and a sense of humor, as I'm gathering here, to go and see and help in all the big and small ways. Very regular people can do. Page 377. O Heavenly One, protector and redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love. Spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. Avinu, Avinu, Sheba Shamayim, Tzu Yisrael v'gohalo. Avinu, Avinu, Sheba Shamayim, Tzu Yisrael v'gohalo. Barech et Medinat Yisrael, Reshit Tzmichat Geulateinu. Hagen aleha bevrat chazdecha, ufos aleha sukat shelomecha. Avinu, Avinu, Sheba Shamayim, Tzu Yisrael v'gohalo. Avinu, Avinu, Sheba Shamayim, Tzu Yisrael v'gohalo. Page 371, a mishubach for those in need of healing, of body, of soul, of heart, and maybe also of mind. May we lose what is mentally tormenting us. 371.
Misheberach Avotenu Mekor habracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misheberach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. And
I will ask you all to rise for page 598. But I do want to ask, Trayson, do you want to share something about your grandma?
Yeah, I'd love to.
Do you want to come and use my microphone? Please be seated for just a little longer. Because Trayson's grandma died, and every time I hear something about this grandma, it's worthwhile learning. So,
My grandma, her name was Judy Fiore, and she was a fiery little Jewish woman from the Bronx that grew up during the Second World War. She went to college at the age of 16 because the city of New York was paying to basically have teachers. She had 3 kids, including my father, and when my aunt, the youngest of the 3, left for college, Mimi, was what we called her, Mimi, decided that she needed to go do something somewhat extreme. So she left and joined the IDF as a tank mechanic for 6 months. Her Italian husband, my grandfather, was incredibly supportive, which shocked everybody else that they knew. But I think that one thing that Mimi really exemplified about many Jews is her willingness to open her heart to just everybody and anybody she came across. I hope that I can continue to carry on that tradition of being a fiery little Jew that stands up for the things that I believe in, and that I can continue to just have my heart open to love anybody and everybody that's willing to accept it. So, thank you, Mimi.
thank you, Trayson. And I also want to share with you, a while ago already, Maggie's daughter Barbara reached out to me and informed me that Maggie's brother Arthur had died. I did not move him for a long time from the Mishe Berach list to the Kaddish list because Maggie kind of curled up with herself. So I have now been asked to move the name to the Kaddish list, and I think that also means that Maggie is ready to talk and reach out and receive phone calls. So if you have her number or you know her, I think the time has come and she would welcome that. Is there anybody else who would like to add a name tonight to the Kaddish list? Lynn? Please rise. We're saying Kaddish for Pete Lazar. Cody, can you say the name again? Craig Barber. Craig Barber, Arthur Kinoy, and Judith Fiore. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחי יכון וביום יכון, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יש שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה, יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי לקודשה בריחו. לאלה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמה, ואמרו אמן. יש לאמר רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמן. Please remain standing. One more song. Page 627. You do not need your page numbers. Just put your book down. and pray with a fiery heart.
יבוא שלום עלינו ועל כולם. עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו ועל כולם. סלם עלינו ועל כל העולם. סלם שלום. עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו ועל כולם. עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו ועל כולם. שבת שלום.